Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Nina Ribina's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's October week 1 and so time for a new mood board, and this is the mood board that Lainey has put together for us for this month. Screaming autumn to me. I just think it's absolutely wonderful, but you know, I know that there are different seasons across the world, so you know, don't feel that you have to do an autumn theme page if you don't want to. We've got honey here, so if it's your spring you could do bumblebees. You might be inspired by the colour blue in this one here. We've also got some vintage tape measures or rulers, so interpret this in any way you like. I'm going to be working with some corrugated cardboard today, which I've cut with my craft knife into a tag shape. I do want to grunge it up a bit around the edges. Let me just find my pokey tool. Now, to pull corrugated cardboard apart, I find the easiest way is to just, you know, grab a pokey tool, insert it in, and then you can just, you know, pull it off in places that you want to. So I just want to pull some off around the edge, and I just want to leave it flat in the centre for me to work on. So I'm just going to play around with this all the way around the edges, as I say, just using my pokey tool just to lift the paper, and then just tearing it and just trying to work it down the page. I think I'm pretty happy with that actually. I think I'm going to leave that be. I'm going to punch my hole before I do anything else. So I'm just going to eyeball the centre, which I think is about there, and just punch that so that that's already prepared. I just want to add some gesso to the background of my tag. I'm just using the De La Rowney Graduate gesso. Mine has gone all lumpy. That brush is absolutely terrible. Let me just find a better one. Here we go. Let's try this one instead. So I'm just going to apply some all over the background like this. I'm going to apply a heavier coat in the centre. So all over, including the sides, like this. Try and get it in those grooves as well. Now my gesso is dry. I've just given it a quick zap with the heat tool, and I want to add some fibre paste. This is a very, very porous paste, and I'm just going to add that to the centre of my tag like this. I need to make sure that I don't cover up my hole. I'm adding quite a thick layer, as you can see, just using my palette knife. You could use modelling paste as an alternative. I just like the fibre paste because it's just got a really nice rough texture, which I like. And of course, you know, I've got some, so you know, use whatever you have if you want to do this kind of thing. So there we go, I've got a nice thick layer of the fibre paste on. And then I want to use a piece of Hessian to stamp some texture into that paste. So I'm just popping it on and then just pressing down, and then I'm just going to have to leave this then to dry naturally. So there we go. Let me just, and you see I've just got this wonderful texture, and you can press it down in areas where you feel you haven't got enough. I want to try and cover up some of those brush marks, palette knife marks. Here we go. So I'm just going to keep pressing down like this. I'm just stamping with it, that's all. I really like that. And then I'm just going to leave that to dry naturally. Before I do anything though, I am going to just make sure that I get all of that fibre paste out of the hole of my tag. I'm waiting for my tag to dry, I'm going to stamp my focal image. This is a leaf set from one of Gina Aaron's sets. So I'm going to pop that on like that. I'm going to use my stamping platform and some embossing ink to stamp the image. And I'm going to go over it 3 times for good measure, just to make sure that I've got plenty of ink. So we'll stamp that down once. And as I say, I'm going to do it 3 times. And then I want to add a couple of extra leaves as well. So 2, and we'll do it one more time. You can see the mess that my embossing pad is in. I've got glitter and all sorts all over it, but you know, it doesn't matter. They don't stay clean for long. And then I've got another leaf here, and so I'm just going to add a couple of extra leaves. So I want that to go something like that. Whoops-a-daisy. Right, hold that in place. Take that one off. There we go. And again, I'm going to stamp that 3 times as well. And then I need to flip it over and put a leaf on the other side. So we'll flip it over, and I want to have that there like that. Be careful, Nina. Whoops, 1. Don't be as clumsy as me. 2. 3. Now I've got my embossing pen. Where's it gone? This is a Versamark embossing pen, so it's exactly the same as the ink, but just in pen form. And what I want to do, let me just find the small end. I want to add some stems to the leaves first of all, so I'll just do that like that. And then I want to fill in this area here and extend it as well, because I just think that's a bit too short now that I've added a couple of extra leaves. So I'm just going to extend it like this. And I think that's probably long enough. And then I'm just going to take it off the platform, and I'm going to use some of the Seth Apter baked texture in patina oxide, so we'll give that a good shake. I've got a piece of scratch paper underneath as well to catch the excess powder, and then I'm going to heat set this with my heat tool. Keep your fingers crossed. Yep, there we go. That's good enough for me, so I'm just going to heat set that with my heat tool. Now I want to add a little bit of colour to my leaves. I've got this palette here, which was one I made myself about 3 years ago with mica powder. So I'm going to use some of this coppery red. And then I'm going to add some yellowy green as well. So I'll add that at the bottom like this. Maybe we can add a bit of a touch of the red a bit higher up as well. And then I haven't got any water here actually, I forgot to go and grab some. Then I'm using this yellowy green, and I'm just going to apply that at the top. And if I go over the edges it doesn't matter, because I'm going to fussy cut this out anyway, so I can add some in the bottom as well. And just try and get a bit of a mix. I really like these metallics. That looks really autumnal, doesn't it? And so I shall do the same over the rest of the leaves. Now my tag's been drying overnight, so I don't know whether you can pick up that lovely texture. And what I want to do now is just grind it up just a little bit more around the edges before I start applying any paint or anything else. Just looks a bit too clean for my liking, so this is just one of these foot manicure things. Don't worry, I haven't used it for my feet. So there we go. So brush that off, and then I've got some fashion beads, self-adhesive beads for fabric. I picked these up on clearance. Oh, goodness knows how long ago. What have I just done with my palette knife? and I've never used them. They were 40p. I can't even remember where I got them from. They might not be any good either. Let's have a look. And I thought these might add a bit of texture around the edge of my piece. So I'm just going to add a few of these. I think they're sort of, you know, mixed in with glue. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. And I'm just going to add a little bit in all of the corners. And then, of course, I can start painting. I might need to add a bit more glue to hold these in place. We'll see. I can always add some heavy gel medium over the top. The beads are pretty well stuck down now, and I just want to go over them with a coat of clear gesso, just so that I've got a surface to add some paint to, because of course these are quite shiny, so I don't know how well the paint will take to them. I might as well go over the whole of the area with the gesso, including the fibre paste. If I miss bits, that's fine, that doesn't matter. Some of them are pinging off, but you know, that's okay. Only a couple actually. The majority of them have stayed well put, and of course this will help them to stick down as well. Just make sure I've got plenty of gesso in these ones here. And then I'll give that a dry, and we can add some paint. Don't forget, when you're using gesso on your paintbrushes, to go and wash them straight away afterwards, because otherwise you'll just ruin them. My tag's been drying for about 45 minutes. It could probably do with a bit longer, but it's dry enough for me to start working on it. And I've pulled out some fluid acrylics. I've got cad yellow, transparent yellow iron oxide, and green gold. You can just water down regular acrylics if you want to, or use, you know, a completely different media as well. I've put some on a plate, and I'm just watering these down just to make them a bit runnier. Let me just go and turn my heater off. It's so cold here today. There we go, sorry about the noise in the background. So I'm just going to water these down ever so slightly. Let me grab a different brush as well. I think I'm going to work with the softest colour in the middle and work my way outwards. Spray a bit of water on there as well, of course, because I've got all the texture from the grunge paste. It's quite difficult to spread. I think I want some of that yellow iron oxide as well, just to grunge it up a bit. And I'm just going to gradually get darker as I go towards the outside. You see some of these are now coming off, but you know, that's okay. If I don't manage to keep them all, I'm absolutely fine with that. I need some more of this yellow iron oxide. I haven't quite got enough. And I'm just going to dab this on. In fact, if I dab it, I'm far less likely as well to lose some of these. And I apologise now if my camera is starting to bounce, because of course my camera is attached to my desk. I can blend this better a bit later, that's fine. Now let's add some of that green, and this is just all about getting some colour down in the background, and we can work on this as we go. Look at those gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous autumn colours. How lovely is that? Now I've got some of the quinacridone magenta that I want to use, and I only want a small touch of this, but again and in fact I might mix that just to make it more browny with the other colours. I really like that, but just to get some darkness going on around the edges. That's lovely. Let's bring in some more of that yellow, sort of like a rusty red colour. Liking that. And it's just this real autumn type scene that I'm trying to achieve. Now I'm going to spray that with water just to try and dilute it, and I'm going to take some of that off with a kitchen towel. Just mainly in the centre. Now I want to build up some depth of colour, so I need to add more paint, and I start around the edges and then just slowly work my way into the centre, using my spray bottle as well to disperse the paint. So I'm starting off with more of the green gold, and I'm dabbing it with a paper towel as well, just to get it to blend so that I don't end up with any harsh ridges or lines. And then I'm using the magenta to darken and redden the outside again. Mixing it in with some of that green as well and diluting it to get a slightly different shade. And then you'll notice that I come into the centre and I'm just dabbing paint on. I'm using my spray bottle as well to disperse it, and I just keep going until I'm happy with the look. So I love the way this is looking, but I want to darken the very outside edge even further just to frame my piece. So I've picked out a very dark brown. This colour is called Van Dyke brown, and it's one of the Arteza colours, and I've just watered that down to thin it out using some water, and I'm just dabbing that on around the edges. And as I say, this is just to frame my piece. So I set this to one side for half an hour or so to let the paint dry, and I'm just finishing the background off with some treasure gold just to add some highlights. No autumnal piece is finished without some gold highlights. So I'm applying it to the beads and around the edges, and I apply a very thin layer to the centre as well just to pick up the texture of the fibre paste. Right, I just want to finish this off now. I love that background. It's just gorgeous. Can you see the, not Inca gold, treasure gold. It's just beautiful. I've got an eyelet here that I'm just going to use to finish off my hole. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that it will actually fit in the crocodile. Yes, it will. So there we go. We'll give that a good squeeze just to finish that off. And then I just want to stick my leaf embellishment down. It just goes perfectly. I'm really happy with that. And then I've pulled out one of these Tim Holtz little metal embellishments here that says Capture Life's Moments. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac to glue that down. I think it will hold with Fabri-Tac, and of course it dries nice and quickly as well. I think I'll glue the embellishment down first though. So I'll just apply that all over like this. I'm going to use the fine nozzle bottle to apply it to the stem so that it doesn't bleed out. If I can find it. Where's it gone? My craft desk is such a mess. Here we go. I need to have a major tidy up. So I've just got to decide now where to put this. We'll apply a bit more around the edges as well. So let's stick this down. I think I want it to go there so that it's nice and evenly spaced, and then I can glue this one down as well, and then I just need to find some threads to go through the top, and that's it. Job done. Oh, come back. Spinning around and around. Right, so I'm going to have to weight that down with something just to make sure that it stays in place. So just to finish this off, I've got some threads here, one of each of these, and then some gold thread as well. So I'm just going to poke this through like that. I'm just using a piece of doubled over wire to guide it through and use it as a needle. It just makes it easier. I'm dictated lengthwise by the piece of gold that I've got left over, because that was the only piece I had. And there it is. I just think that's gorgeous. I love that. So here's a reminder of this month's mood board. I think my tag reflects the mood board really well. I'm happy with that. Take a screenshot of this if you need to. You'll also find a copy of it in the announcements in the Facebook group as well. And I look forward to seeing everybody else's interpretations. As always, if you enjoyed my video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, because it really does let YouTube know that you like what I'm doing. And take care, everyone. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.